Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the Art of Business English podcast. It's episode 213. Now, you may have been wondering where I've been for the past, almost a year. Well, I have been incredibly busy working on some very interesting projects with some interesting companies here in Barcelona. I've been doing I developed a fantastic course on persuasive presentation techniques in English, which is called Powerful Presentations. And I have been really stuck in that, working hard, delivering that, and basically coaching executives and business professionals through how to improve their persuasive presentation techniques and how to get the most out of their presentations at work. And I'm currently working and almost finished also on a written communication course. So I have been so busy, and over the summer I took a break. But now, here we are, almost 12 months later, I am back. And this is episode 213. So I'm literally just going to take off right from where I left you guys. Okay, so I've got some awesome episodes coming up. So stay tuned and get ready for some more of the Art of Business English podcast as we get back into it. So I've got a short but very useful lesson on Q&A sessions for you today. The Q&A is what you do at the end of your presentation. Now, for most people, a Q&A can be very stressful. Yeah, especially if you're not presenting in your native language. So, to help you better prepare for this stage of your presentation, listen on for my tips and tricks that will help you to confidently prepare for your Q&As. So, a Q&A is a powerful and interactive way to help your audience clarify their concerns or doubts. It is also a great way to ensure that your presentation message is clear or well received. So make sure you always allow time for Q&A in a business presentation. It is better to have a shorter presentation than a rushed Q&A. Just remember that. A lot of people, from the experience that I've had over the past year, working closely with management and executives, is that they're trying to get too much into their presentations and they've got too many things going on. So keep it short, keep it concise, and save time for the Q&A. If people leave the room with unanswered questions, then they won't adopt your ideas. It's as simple as that. And we need people to adopt our ideas, because what's the point in presenting if people are not moved towards your idea or moved towards the adoption of the thing that you want them to do, okay? Get the most out of your Q&As by following some of these tips, okay? Planning when you'll take questions. So you should establish early on if you want to field questions throughout your talk or save them until the end. Simple, there are two options. If you need to build a thorough case, ask people at the very beginning to hold questions until the end. But if you're making a series of points, you can take questions after each one while they're fresh in people's minds. Again, this will depend on your audience and the style of your presentation. Remember, your audience is the most important person. Anticipating questions. It doesn't matter how beautiful your presentation delivery is. If you sound confused or uncertain when taking questions, then you will leave a bad feeling in people's minds, and you'll have ruined your presentation. So be sure to brainstorm any questions the audience might raise, from the mundane, so the boring type of question, right up to the hostile question. And you need to prepare some answers ahead of time, as this will ensure that you're not caught off guard when everyone is looking at you, which is terrible. Okay, you need to also rehearse your answers, but still be prepared for some random, unexpected questions. And some questions may feel, or some of the questioners, some of the people in the audience, they may feel a need to publicly challenge your ideas. So if this happens, you remember you need to keep cool. Obviously here it's important to know your material or have some supporting facts or figures in the appendix. So plan accordingly. Again, this is important too, listening empathetically for so the subtext. Get to the point and try and answer people's questions as best you can. However, you also need to be tuned into any underlying issues that people may not want to express directly to the group. So you need to play politics there a little bit. Think about what they really want or what they're really asking. So as you know, there's often politics at play, and sometimes people want to get an answer to something that is bothering them, yet they may feel a bit embarrassed or defensive about openly asking a direct question. So try and listen carefully, think on your feet, and try and be sensitive to those unspoken issues. Another tip, admitting when you don't know something. The rule, fake it until you make it, here probably not the best motto to follow. It may work for you once, but as you know, 9 times out of 10, it would just make you look bad. And most people are not stupid. They'll see straight through you. If you don't know the answer to a question, just say that you don't, and offer to do some research after the presentation or get back to the group so that you just need to promise that you give them an answer. Or you can say, could you just write that down for me and we'll discuss it in more detail. Keeping a tight rein on large or tough crowds. So that means basically controlling as best you can a large or a tough crowd. If you're presenting to a large group, ask a Q&A moderator to graciously take the microphone back after each question is asked. That way, one aggressive question won't turn into a barrage of questions coming at you, okay? Or if you don't have a moderator, just let the audience know up front that you're answering one question per person. So more people will have a chance to participate. Okay, so that's your excuse. One question per person, so more people get a chance to ask questions. Okay, try this other tip as well. You can acknowledge questions from angry inquisitors. You look at other audience members when answering them, so it's easier to move on to the next person and keep the discussion constructive. Because if your topic is emotionally charged, or you're addressing a crisis, a safety recall, for example, you should have a facilitator filter the questions where possible. They can compile a mix of tough questions and lighter ones that might get a laugh and omit those questions that really are not on topic or maybe have a personal agenda behind them, okay? They can also plant questions that the audience might be too intimidated to ask. For instance, will people lose their jobs if we don't make our numbers this year? Okay, so that can help with a facilitator. Sometimes it's good to answer questions. If you don't get questions, it's also good to answer or create some questions, prepare some questions that you can then ask and answer of yourself. Leaving a strong final impression. This is important. Don't end abruptly, like, okay, thank you, bye. So after the Q&A, it feels incomplete and unsatisfying if you do this. If you finish abruptly, the audience is going to feel, oh, what happened here? And you'll also miss an opportunity to reinforce your message. So wrap up the discussion with a brief summary that recaps this amazing new thing that you want your audience to achieve, and you'll do a good job of your Q&A session. So there you have it, my top tips for ensuring you have an impactful Q&A at the end of your next presentation. The power of Q&A is without a doubt one of the keys to making you look and sound like an authority on your chosen presentation topic. So use it well, it's to your advantage. So that is all, my friends. Welcome back to the Art of Business English podcast, and I'll see you all next week for another episode. Take care, bye for now.